my fellow comic book collectors. Today's another episode of the Price Variance Show where we're going to look at various series that we enjoyed reading and that, we just want to showcase a few books from each series that we enjoyed. So, without further ado, I'm going to let Mark introduce his first series that he wants to show. And hopefully it's not the same as the one I want to show.
Well, I hope not, because it could possibly be, because I know you really like this series.
Okay.
However, so do I. And I'm going first. So it is Howard the Duck. So,
okay, cool.
Yeah. So I know that Howard the Duck #1 was one of Alan's first purchases. He saw it there on the wall of his shop, and he wasn't allowed to buy. He was only allowed to buy Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. So yeah. Anyway, so me too. I'm a big Howard the Duck fan, and the series I'm presenting is the Howard the Duck, the first series. Here we have #1. Of course, this is sort of Howard as Conan the Barbarian, and there's the Red Sonja lookalike nearby. Don't ask me why Spider-Man's there. I think when they want to promote the sales of the new comic, they put Spider-Man in it, crossover to help them sell numbers. But this, of course, is not Howard the Duck's first appearance. He appears in. It's with Swamp Thing, isn't it? In what's it in?
It's Man Thing.
Man Thing, not Swamp Thing.
Yeah, Man Thing. Whatever issue it is. I think 4 or something like that. I don't know. Some early issue.
Yeah. So, of course, created by Steve Gerber, and endless lawsuits of one form or another, and ensued from this, because Disney sued Marvel because they thought Howard looked too much like Donald, and then Marvel sued Steve Gerber. Steve Gerber sued Marvel because Steve Gerber wanted the rights, thought that he was the creator and therefore he should own Howard. So this cute little duck thing spawned a lot of animosity around the comic world in one form or another. Anyway, here we have Howard the Duck #1, which used to be, this used to be, the comic he wanted. Back in the 70s, 80s, everybody wanted to have the Duck #1. It's not so much now. It hasn't gone up proportionately to what it would have cost you back then. I looked it up. Surprisingly, I must have got a bargain recently, because I picked up 1 to 28 for about 40 quid. But actually issue 1 has got a fair market value of $500 in a 9.8, so it's still a bit of value to it. But there you go, have the Duck #1.
So the only thing is with that, like, you can pick up like non 9.8s pretty cheaply all day long. I paid $10 for my copy back in the early 80s, and it's probably still worth $10 today. So it wasn't such a good investment, but I did love that book. That very good choice. So my choice is actually, so I put Howard the Duck aside. So actually, I want to show this in a different order. It's up here. You gotta bear with me. Oh yeah. I'm not sure if you know this series.
I have heard of it, Alan. Yes. That is a great.
So this is
That was we've done well there. We've done well there, because I nearly picked Fantastic Four, but I thought,
oh, good. I'm glad you did it
with Alan on Fantastic Four, because he's got nearly all 1 to 20s.
I am almost there. I'm almost there on 1 to 20. So so this is Fantastic Four #1. To me, what was interesting about this was it's what I would consider a dysfunctional family and but it is a family, and it's a story, that you know that I really enjoy because of the fact that it's sort of like normal people. They get superpowers. They're dysfunctional family, but they're family, and they have to work out their issues and fight all these things. Um, if they didn't exist, like, probably the criminals would do less damage than the Fantastic Four would do on their own. But the point is, they were fun. It was a fun series. I enjoyed it. Basically, it was kind of cool because what I did was, you can read them online. So I went through and just read from number one all the way up. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. They are a very dysfunctional family. And this book really set Marvel on its path.
Yeah.
Like, this is the book that really, everyone thinks of Spider-Man and X-Men and stuff. It was really Fantastic Four that set Marvel on its path to being like the superhero company.
Well, it was the first one. It was the first one of that.
Yeah, yeah.
61. I mean, I think Spider-Man wasn't till 63, was he?
Late 62, I believe.
62, and Avengers is 63, isn't it? So
yeah. So it's like way after. So this is like the book that really, I think this is the one that made Marvel successful over DC. They still haven't made a good movie of it. They made okay movies of it, but not great movies. But I do enjoy the Fantastic Four, and this is my first from the Fantastic Four series that I'm going to show.
Well, there you go, guys. How to see a Fantastic Four #1? I don't think I've ever seen one in real life.
Oh, really? Okay.
I have no, not seen one. Not seen a live one.
Okay, that's cool. So yeah, so you see something new every day.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your next book?
So we're doing Howard the Duck. So the next one I'm picking out from the run. I mean, there's some great ones there. There's some fantastic villains, like the Space Turnip, who turns up in issue 2. He is from a sentient race of vegetables, who died out because they forgot to pick themselves before the first cosmic frost. Anyway.
Awesome storyline. Okay.
The Space Turnip, he's in issue 2, I think. He appears a few times. I think it's a big sort of big woman called the Kidney Lady. She's good fun. Anyway, in this issue, this is a famous issue because it is the one in which we get the first appearance of Kiss, the rock band in comics. So Kiss make an appearance here, and you will see it sort of says here, Kiss and Tell in the Psycho Ward. So, a bit of a pop. Nice. So this cover's quite nice because it's called Omen of the Exorcist. So, when this was around, The Exorcist was fairly newly out. The Omen series of films had just sort of hit mainstream. So horror films were sort of having a bit of a revival in the cinemas. And this is reflected in this cover here, Omen of the Exorcist. And we've got Kiss, who was sort of in their sort of demonic sort of makeup and outfits. So there we go. And Kiss, of course, still going, unbelievably.
I know. They're pretty cool.
Drugs did not kill them off.
I know. Yeah, there's certain bands that I thought, oh, they'll die probably in their 40s or something like that. Max, that's as long as they could live. But they're like, I don't know. They're still alive. It's pretty amazing. Them, the Rolling Stones, there's a bunch that I'm just surprised that they're still alive. Yeah.
The drugs give you longevity rather than kill you. They either kill you off when you're 27 or you live to 87.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. So yeah, that is definitely a cool one. And that's actually one of the more valuable issues in the run because it is the first appearance of Kiss. Okay, so continuing on the Fantastic Four run, we got. Actually, I couldn't find my number 2. I have number 2, but I can't find it. I was looking for it. I couldn't find it. Actually, I like number 2 a lot.
That's the only one
But
I've
this is
got
not,
of 1 to 10.
what?
That's the only one I've got of 1 to 10 is number 2.
Oh, really? Okay, so yeah, so this is number 3. The reason I like this one is there's a certain element to me where I like, I don't know, the kind of the geeky, like, how did they get their suits? How did they, what does their building look like? Like the sort of minutia rather than story. Like just like, the world building kind of like setup of like the characters and stuff. Well, this kind of has that. It shows like blueprints to the the building, and it just it's kind of got that little bit of geekiness to it. So I enjoyed it.
We want to know which of the 4 of them makes the coffee.
Yeah, exactly. That's important.
Alfred makes it, but who makes it for the Fantastic Four?
Yeah, exactly. So these are the important questions we need to know the answers to. So so Fantastic Four number 3, and they get their costumes, the iconic costumes. So a lot of you might say
Car.
what, and their hover car.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they show the building as well. So that lots of great stuff in that one book. So that's Fantastic Four number 3.
Fantastic. Right.
Mhm.
One of my favorite villains from Howard the Duck. He's got quite a few great villains. This one is called Dr. Bong. And Dr. Bong has the head in the shape of a bell.
Oh, yes.
And he's got his fist is like a clanger. So it's one of his superpowers. He can bang his head, make noise, which can knock people out. His story is really fun as well. So this guy was a music critic. who
Cool.
was for some reason is a music critic who is also a brilliant genetic engineer. So,
that's typical. That's happens all the time.
The island of Dr. Bong is taking on the island of Dr. Morrow.
Right. Moreau, yeah.
No, yeah. So he creates, he's creating his own creatures on this island. And
are they all musical related too?
And I can't remember, to be honest. I haven't really.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read Howard the Duck. Like 30 years, maybe.
Yeah, so this is a fun villain, Dr. Bong. Yeah.
Nice. So another, like I basically I'm going to be showing the run of Fantastic Four, except for number 2, which I couldn't find. I don't know where it is, but I was looking for it, but I couldn't find it.
Why isn't it? I'm a bit worried about this because number 2 is the Skrulls. Have they copied themselves as an Amazing Fantasy 15?
Maybe. Yeah, I they might have done that in my collection. I can't find them. I don't know. It drives me crazy because I actually have a really nice copy of number 2. It's like signed and everything. It's like kind of cool. So this is Fantastic Four number 4.
Okay.
That's and this is the first Silver Age Submariner.
Yeah.
And Submariner is kind of interesting character that they bring in, because he is a character that has that water element. He's associated to the water, which is kind of important later on. And he also represents a love interest.
Yes.
Like sort of that bizarre, love triangle between, Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman or Girl. She's Invisible Girl at this point.
With Namor getting a bit hot and randy with.
Yeah.
There's even a what if Namor married Sue Richards.
Yeah. So this is the book that kind of sets that up a little bit. I think because he's running around without a top, maybe she kind of kind of like
those skimpy green trunks.
Yeah.
Don't hide a lot.
Yeah, I know. Maybe. And it is kind of triangular head. Always, that's a very appealing feature. So I don't know. I always liked Submariner. And let's bring them back. It's kind of cool that he's been brought back. I forgot how many years between when he appeared in the Golden Age and reappeared in the Silver. I think it was like good 10 to 15 years. It was a pretty long duration.
Reasonable gap, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so Fantastic Four #4.
Showing all my grails that I haven't got here, Alan, it's hurting. Right. So next up, this is a great cover. This is a homage cover, of course, to Amazing Spider-Man 50.
Oh yeah, yeah. Nice, yeah.
So comic fans out there, you will instantly be bringing to mind your well, you don't have to bring it to mind. There it is.
There it is right there.
Conveniently, it's
I just happen to have it next to me.
part of his Game of Thrones throne.
Yeah, it's part of my throne.
And in this one, poor old Howard has a fate no one could wish on a duck. He becomes human.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can see we've got it crossed out and human written in there.
Mm.
Foul no more.
That was the great thing about Howard the Duck. Lots of puns, lots of like they did like a lot of references to like our world and kind of like making fun of like a lot of things. It's just kind of cool.
It got the comedy just right for
yeah, yeah,
for smart geeky teenagers.
Yeah,
Or smart geeky 20 somethings, you know, they got the humor of this.
Yeah,
and
that was the funny thing when I when I did pick up that Howard the Duck #1. In a way, it was a little bit too old for me.
Yeah,
I was expecting like a duck, like just going around fighting and stuff like that, but it wasn't quite that. There was a bit more adult humor.
It's a parody comic. You know, he's
Yeah.
got references like the Island of Dr. Moreau and, you know, Amazing Spider-Man 50, you know, and there's lots of references in it.
Yeah, very cool book. So yeah, continuing on the Fantastic Four train, we got you know, first appearance of Doctor Doom. This is Fantastic Four #5. And actually it was really interesting. I didn't want, like, you know, I've heard the Doctor Doom story many, many times, like from the movies and different things, but when you actually read it, it's much different than you would expect. You know, Doctor Doom is more of a, you know, brilliant scientist, kind of a like a foil to Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Where he's, you know, really on that plane. He doesn't really have his powers that we think of, like with Magneto, kind of like that kind of element. He's more of just a brilliant scientist. So he actually, in this story, it's kind of cool because I always like time travel, and this is a time travel story where he is actually trying to get the powers that that we associate with him. So basically, he builds like a time machine because there's this treasure that if they can get, it has like these gems of power kind of thing. And you know, they go, like, he basically kidnaps the Fantastic Four and then forces them to go on this little quest for him. And it's just a very cool story. It's like a time travel story. It's got like some different things going on, and you know, it's one of those stories where, you know, it really shows that even though he's just a man in the end of the day, but he's a very smart man, that he can defeat this all-powerful team, and that he is their like, you know, greatest enemy, greatest, you know, rival. So it's just kind of cool and kind of sets up.
He's a sort of Machiavellian strategist, isn't he? He's extremely
yeah, very brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, so it's different than the way I would picture him. Like in the movie, I think they had it where he was one of the guys on, you know, he got powers by the same way that they got their powers. And, you know, that's not the way it was in the comic. So it's kind of interesting. So I really enjoyed it. You know, I thought it was kind of a cool story. So Doctor Doom, first appearance, and Fantastic Four #5.
Great book, great book.
Yeah. So yeah.
Okay, my last Howard. It's got a sticker on it. The later ones are actually harder to find. So the last 4 or 5 issues are actually quite a rarer, and harder to find. So I hadn't got this one up until last year, and it's got a label on it, so I need to get another one. But it's this is the last in the run. This is Howard the Duck, number 33. Alan always tells me I have to get the first one and the last one.
Yep, that's my pattern.
And he's changed. He looks a bit different now. So I think they've made some changes from the lawsuit with Disney at this stage. And he doesn't.
I think it was earlier than that, but yeah, but
oh yeah, it might have been. But so yeah, because the last one I showed was 18 or something. So it's happened sometime in the last 12 issues. He's changed appearance. Doesn't look as good to me. But anyway, strangely now, of course, the thing goes full circle, doesn't it? Because Disney now own Marvel.
Yeah.
So they own Howard the Duck and they own Donald Duck. So, they can choose.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, isn't it?
Yeah, so they can choose how they want Howard the Duck to look. And they have used him a couple of times.
They actually used him a lot.
Yeah,
he was in the What If series. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah,
he was in a lot of things where he's just sort of cameo, sort of walking past.
yeah, exactly. Surprised they didn't use him in She-Hulk because he does actually.
I know. He would have been very appropriate. Yeah,
in comics, he teams up with She-Hulk a fair amount.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was actually expecting him.
I was expecting him to appear in She-Hulk, and he didn't.
But I feel like the people that wrote She-Hulk really didn't read the source material, so.
So there you go. Those are my 5 comics from one of my favorite series, Howard the Duck. It's worth reading if you've not read them. They're not expensive. Seriously, as we've discussed, even number 1, you could probably go and find a raw copy for a tenner, $10. So yeah, heavily undervalued and underappreciated series these days.
Yeah, so I'm going to finish out the little run that I'm showing.
Yes.
With Fantastic Four number 6.
Wow. Okay.
And so Fantastic Four number 6 is kind of like, it's like the whole first issues are all setting up a storyline in a weird way. Like, you have like sort of these single stories, but they also kind of create an overall storyline. So, the Skrulls is kind of like a little bit different, but we got the characters set up of Doctor Doom and Submariner, but then now we get the situation where they're working together.
Yeah, so
it's really. I actually, there was parts of it that I liked in the story, but I felt like the resolution was a little weak. But it was kind of a situation where Doctor Doom is using Submariner against the Fantastic Four. And, I felt like that was a little weak, but it was overall an interesting story. This is, I kind of like the fact that this is, kind of a big key. Like, it's second appearance of both characters, and it's the first Marvel team up of villains. So just a really great book overall. So this is Fantastic Four number 6. So
I have to say, Alan, you can't top that. Fantastic Four is one of my favorite series. I was thinking about bringing in. I thought no, because I can't compete with those absolute crap.
Well, you could have brought different issues. We could have been babbling. There's like so many great.
My issue 2 hasn't tried to copy itself and hide itself somewhere.
I have no idea where it is. I'm almost like at that point where I just want to like grab all my slabs and just go through the whole thing and just find it. Like, just it drives me crazy not knowing where something is.
Yeah, me too. I know, it's really annoying, isn't it? You go, where is that?
Yeah. I couldn't find that, and also I lost my Ultimate Fallout number 4. I couldn't find either of those in the last little, and it's driving me crazy. I went through about 20 boxes looking for those 2 books. So yes, I'm a little bit annoyed. A little bit annoyed. It's like losing a child. But maybe more serious.
Yeah. More
definitely. So that was my my and Mark's 5 books from one series that we want to show. We're going to do 5 more books from a series on Mark's channel,
From
and different series. But you know, we're going to kind of get into the stories a bit. I recommend you go over and check his channel out. And thanks for coming again, Mark, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, Alan. I loved seeing those Fantastic Fours. Bye.